The German philosopher von Goethe said that behaviour is the mirror in which everyone shows their image. He's got a point. Unless they know us, people will judge a person on their words and deeds. Sometimes that judgment is a valid one when an individual sets the mark for others to follow, or conversely, an individual who delights in toxic behaviour. People who delight in bullying others or in sneaking behind their backs. Delightful creatures, aren't they? Sometimes, however, our judgment is faulty. Maybe an individual has slipped into bad habits, or maybe they are suffering from stress. It doesn't matter. Irrespective of what's behind it, we tend not to be interested about what's behind the behaviour. We tend to judge exclusively on the behaviour. Whilst we may take the moral high ground over people displaying toxic behaviour, the fact is that none of us are perfect, and at some point we've all acted in some degree in a toxic manner. It doesn't matter if your behaviour slips once in a while, or is, unbeknownst to you, a regular feature of your life. If you can't recognise the signs of a behaviour shift and do something about it quickly, then it could have a negative effect on your future. And there is quite likely to be a personal cost to it as well. Apart from those who revel in such behaviour, no one wants to act in such a way. It's just one of those things that can worm its way into your mind, and if left unchecked, it has the power to change you. Let's take a look at the kinds of negativity that you could be subjected to. 1. Given that I suffer from depression, this is one behaviour that I can relate to far too well, and that's negativity. Being around positive people who always look optimistically forward is a great thing. Being around people who are obsessed with how cruelly life has treated on them and hanging on for dear life to some event that warped their lives is, to put it mildly, not a situation that you want to be in. Because negative people are capable of dragging others down to their level. They tend to be shunned. And of course, when you're living an existence that's perpetually gloomy, then it will damage who you are and have a hugely negative impact on your life. Those negative individuals may have good reason to feel miserable, but regardless of their situation, whether it's valid or not, the majority of people won't have the slightest interest in it. No one said that life is fair, although many people seem to think that it owes them some kind of life. Irrespective of your situation, life is what you make of it. You can choose to approach it positively and do your best to make the most out of every moment, or you don't. If you choose not to make the most out of your life, then that is entirely your choice, not life's. Yours. I remember that it took a long time to get over my somewhat negative feelings for a one-time employer. Yes, I had excellent reason for loathing every molecule of their being, and I wish that I could have let it behind, but I couldn't. And pretty much every time that I had a job interview for about 2 years, as soon as they came up, I would start to foam at the mouth. Fortunately, I finally realised that clinging to the past was a waste of my life. 2. Fortunately, I never suffered from this one, and that's comparing yourself to others, of needing to be reassured that you have worth. When you start the comparison game, then nothing that you ever do quite matches up to the glittering successes of those around you. Everyone has a better job, better prospects, a better house, a better family, and the list goes on and on, and you get the message. I'll concede that a bit of jealousy is natural. It could even be a good thing because it could spur you on to do better. But if you let it get to you, then you could end up obsessing over how much of a failure you are. I find jealousy to be a rather sad condition because instead of focusing on how great that individual is and working to improve their life, all that they can see is how great everyone else is. And given that their obsession will result in them turning their backs on all of their potential, then they will have the rest of their lives to bewail how cruel life is to them. Life does not owe you a living. Your government does not only owe you a living, only you do. It's entirely your responsibility to make the most out of your life. 3. This one is linked to the other two, and as such is worth a brief mention, and that's taking things too personally. If you're criticised or if someone verbally abuses you, then it's quite reasonable to take it personally. But if you're overly sensitive to negativity, then it can become a problem in which everything that goes wrong for you is down to you. It's something that you could have prevented, and that can make you feel lousy about yourself. You are only ever the victim when you choose of your own free will to be one. When I was younger, I would take things personally. For me, the issue culminated in a hockey game. I was the goalkeeper. We were losing quite badly, and I got in a right old mood. I went storming around my area, and I'm ashamed to say that I flung my gauntlets and helmet to the ground. By the end of the game, I'd fortunately come to my senses when I realised, where's the point of getting grumpy? It served absolutely no purpose, so where was the point? The only person that it harmed was me, and I'd rather not make a fool of myself like that. Especially kicking my helmet around my goal area. That was just sad. From that point onwards, I stopped taking things personally and just got on with my life. 4. We probably have all come across people who lose their temper for no reason at all, when the slightest thing can set them off on a vitriolic rant. Anyone who is emotionally volatile like this needs urgent help, because unless they can gain control over their emotions, they're going to have no quality of life and a rather bleak future. I'm lucky. I've never flown off the handle, although I've seen people do it to varying degrees. Personally, I can't see the point of getting angry, and it's been many years since I last got annoyed. Anger solves nothing. You might experience some momentary exultation at having won an argument, but it's a worthless few moments, and your opponent is likely to resent you all the more. The more that you argue, the more fuel you add to your argument. True, I can appreciate that there are times when tempers rise, but then just walk away and calm down. The only way that you can ever resolve issues is through calm, rational discourse. 5. One of the worst things that you can ever do is to become fixated in the pursuit of perfection. People can have a vision of this non-existing thing called perfection, and they can shut themselves off from all creativity and free thought in its pursuit. The pursuit of perfection is an exercise in the pursuit of procrastination. It's a good excuse not to have to stretch yourself. After all, you're too busy fine-tuning everything to the last punctuation mark, whatever great venture you're embarked upon. Whilst you're perfecting your work, you're hiding away from failure, from making mistakes, from taking all those leaps of faith that, if you let them, would enable you to be the person that's hidden away inside of you. Personally, I prefer not to overanalyze something. I want to complete the project, do any fine-tuning, and then move on to the next challenge, and the next, and the next, and the next. 6. Not looking after yourself, or maybe not believing that you should look after yourself, should be higher in this list of toxic behaviours, given that it's one that we're probably all guilty of on a regular basis, and not doing so can hurt us. We hear so much about the need for a sensible diet and exercise that we can be forgiven for thinking that some of it might even apply to us. If we don't look after ourselves, then at some point we could pay the final price, and in the meantime we could end up falling to pieces. Miss your breakfast, and your body that is in need of fueling up will not be at its best. Remember, breakfast, break fast. Miss your lunchtime fuel stop, and the afternoon will be difficult. Your body needs food to work. Don't feed your body, and your body will respond to that. And please don't forget to drink as well. If you don't keep up with the fluids, it's not a lot of fun when you go a whole day without drinking anything, thinking that, yes, I'm keeping up with my work, and you're not really. Healthy body, healthy mind. You don't have to go to the gym, you just have to walk more. And just like a healthy body will keep you functioning at your best, a healthy mind will help you to operate at your best. The mind's gym is a lot less physical than the body's gym. Reading, listening to theatre, music, books, learning, finding some you time where you can relax and recharge. These strenuous activities are the gym for your mind. 7. A lack of empathy. In order to be able to flourish as an individual, we need to be able to empathise with others. If we can't connect with others, then it's hard to see how we can effectively work with others. There are those who take toxic behaviour to extremes by their cruel and rather cowardly behaviour. To be cruel just because you can doesn't hurt the intended target, it also damages the abuser. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and as such, we're all equal. Personally, I don't discriminate in how I deal with people. I find that the best way to deal with everyone is to treat them as if they're old acquaintances, and as if it were the most natural thing in the world for them to deal with me, or at least that's as close as I can define it. The management of a previous employer considered that I had a unique way of dealing with people. They couldn't put it into words, but they liked it. So, do what I do. Just be yourself. Sometimes in a world that's trained you to the last punctuation mark, that's a way to stand out from the crowd. Your way. 8. I love technology. It's wonderful. It's life-changing, and it has opened up a whole new world for me. And having said that, I have a confession to make that will undoubtedly mark me out as a dangerous, free-thinking radical. That being, I'm not a slave to technology. We have a limited lifespan, and in each day of our lives, we only have 24 hours in which we can do something. Having been close to the edge more than a few times, it's reasonable to say that we really don't know when our time will run out. Given the time that we have, it makes sense to use it in the best way that we can. And yet so many people have become a slave to their phone and a slave to their social media. Those wonders of technology are fun and can be very useful, but there's so much more to life than posting pictures, texting, and spending an age on the phone. Such as, let me think, how about opening the world to yourself? How many hours a week can you afford to turn your back on? There's a thought, hey? 9. Thanks to my car crash and ensuing fun and games, I'd caused to hold on to what happened for far too long. I couldn't let go of my past, and it was seriously hampering my attempts to move my life on. Yes, I know that bad and indeed terrible things can happen to people, and that events have the power to scar people for life. It's easy to say, move on, but not easy to do. You have to leave all the disappointment and hurt behind you. It's happened, and there's nothing that you can do about it. All that you can do is to not let it beat you and keep working at moving forward in your life until the hurt and disappointment doesn't hurt as much anymore. Time can be a great healer, but a far greater one, I found, is saying something along the lines of, sod this, I want my life back, and taking action on that desire. No one is perfect. We all have our bad habits, but the trick is to not let them overcome you. There is no law, universal or temporal, that says that you have to be plagued with toxic behaviour. Be aware of any thought or action that runs contrary to who you are and stamp it out. Methinks the best way to deal with any toxic behaviour that's trying to sneak into who you are is to always strive to be the very best that you can be. Okay, my friends, until next time, keep living.